Welcome to The Biggest Man in Cricket with your host, David Brook.
Welcome to the next episode with me, David Brook. Today's guest doesn't need much introduction. His hoodie pretty much says it all. He's one of the most underrated cricketers to ever come out of South Africa. Ladies and gents, I'm the biggest man in cricket, and this is Dane Piedt.
Thanks. Kind words, Luigi. Thank you. Kind words.
Cheers. We do a cheers here on the biggest man in cricket. We cheers with coffee.
Awesome.
How is Dane Piedt?
Yeah, Dane's pretty good at the moment. It's off season, so it's my best time. Up until our trainer calls us to come in and do the conditioning for off season. But I'm pretty good. Family man now, a lot more relaxed than I used to be. But yeah, pretty good.
And you're based in Bloem now.
Yeah.
So I never thought I'd ever see the day that Dane Piedt was living in Bloem, Vegas.
Well, for me, Brookie, a lot of the guys know me and the personality that I am and how much I love Cape Town. But having traveled for the last, I think 6-7 years, my wife and I in the US, lived in a small town in North Carolina, and then coming back to South Africa when Shooks texted me to come back for that infamous test series. And Bloemfontein, once you have a family, you have your nice little house there, things just become easy. There's good schools out there. We enjoy it out there at the moment. So yeah, life's pretty good there.
That is the nature of cricket, right? I mean, you never know. You start your career, you played. We'll get into the detail of your career at the Cobras and stuff, but you never know where cricket can land up. Just take me back to the start. You started playing, I think, probably when you were about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
How did that all start? Did your dad get you into it? Is there history of cricket in your family?
So for my histories, it's my grandfather passed away. I think it was in 1969. His name was Dane Piedt. He was a left-arm spinner, according to my grandmother. She's 97 this year, I think. And she's given me a lot of stories about it. It skipped a generation, thankfully. It missed my dad. He played baseball and football.
Oh, wow.
And then it hit me. But like you say, I started as a young guy, 4, 5, 6 years old, in the backyard of my dad. He refused to throw tennis balls at me. He said I got to toughen up. So he took the hard cricket ball, no pads on,
Wow.
hit the ball. Only really started bowling later on in my life, but I was more, keen on batting and smashing the ball around the ground. I played every sport. I went to Cambridge Primary, and there was a cricket professional, Mr. Kennedy, that saw my ability from a young age. And he had every Friday afternoon, it was called professional cricket, I think it was. And then he got me involved in my first experiences of, having a smaller group of players, but isolated coaching.
Okay.
More one-on-one. Yeah. Ashley P was on, and he speaks about, growing up in the hood and playing in the streets. You learn the game differently to that, It's like playing golf and you're not allowed to shout across the course. So for me, that's how I sort of started learning the game, through Mr. Kennedy. And a lot of sacrifices from my parents. And I think that was the moment where, I started falling in love with cricket. My first experience of watching cricket was in Pakistan, came here in 98. Sakleen Mushtaq was out in Newlands, and he was an off spinner, and all of those type of, Azam Mahmood was here, and then the legend South Africa's Hansies and all of that. A big Hansie fan growing up, like every other kid was. So yeah, that's where it sort of, the game really started for me.
Yeah.
And I was a good footballer too. I still do love my football, even though our teams are worse than
A long-suffering Man United fan.
Yeah. And I wanted to be a professional footballer. And the footballer in the family, my dad, I owe a lot to my dad for telling me, no, don't leave this football thing. I wanted to play cricket. And, and that's the journey of how it started. He never really knew the game of cricket. Him and my mom, from watching me over the years, sort of picked up on it. But for me, what my dad taught me the most was mentality. And, the mentality of being better than the person in front of you. And, and I think that helps with my profession as a spin bowler. I can't bowl these bounces that KG bowls, or, get the ball to reverse swing and all of that. I've got to work hard. So mentality plays a big part of that, being a spin bowler. So he taught me that. He didn't teach me about the technical stuff and all of that type of stuff, but the big thing was the mentality of being better than the person in front of you.
That's always something that I've seen in your game. The mentality is that you were never going to be a Shane Warne or that kind of bowler, but you were a thinking cricketer. And we'll talk about your captaincy and how that came about. But I think that kind of mentality made you an excellent skipper because you thought about the game differently. You weren't just thinking about it as a performer, but how did you then, you went to high school, you went to Sax?
Yes, the oldest school in the country.
Oldest school in the country. How did that come about? Was it a cricketing thing, or was it just you were lived close by?
So the sad part of hearing Ashwell speak about it last week about the traditional roots of making it as a schoolboy cricketer is through the white schools, as us colored people really call it, or my family used to call it. So I went to Cambridge, predominantly white school. The opportunities are better. And then going to Sax, the same thing. The opportunities and the exposure is better. You play against better schools. And that sort of, the direction of getting to Sax, we applied at Rondebosch, but we lived out in the northern suburbs first, right? So we lived out in Brackenfell, North Bay, right? And my sister got accepted to do dance at UCT. So we ended up moving to Lansdowne in that time.
Okay.
But I was at primary school. We were just out. I think let's talk about the schools talk about the catchment shit. Whatever it is, right? The catchment.
Yeah, Jet there with the action a couple of years.
Yeah. So they spoke about that. We were just outside of it. But obviously the talent I showed with the sport that I played some hockey as well. Eventually, was Smith at Cambridge got me to play hockey. So I had to play another sport at the school. So I ended up playing hockey. And we applied at Rondebosch. They said, no, I need to be a hostel boy.
Okay.
And my father was completely against that. He said no. And eventually, one of my mom's colleagues was a Sax old boy and said, you should try. I'll get in contact with Gordon Law, who was the principal at the time at Sax. My marks were never good. Never, ever good. That was never something that I could,
Yeah.
But he said, if your fourth term grades are good, we can get you into the school because, from a sporting aspect, you can add a lot of value in that. And then that was like late August, I think it was. So they were basically waiting for my report card before I was on a standby.
No pressure.
No pressure. And eventually the grades were good enough and I got into Sax.
What was that like? Were you one of, obviously Wynberg, the Rondebosch, that southern suburb schools obviously have got strong history in cricket. Who were some of the guys? Did they come through and play provincial cricket?
Carl Lewis, I think he's a radio presenter now at the moment at Good Hope FM. He was a really good, he was a jock at the school. Yeah. He had 100 meters. He was the first in fly-off, first in captain, batter at 4. So he was the guy that you came to. Yeah, Carl Schroeder played a couple of B-side games for Western Province. Simon Minnock was a left-arm seamer. I think he got a bag of wickets at some Nuffield week, now Coke week. There was myself, Kirk Werners, who ended up playing some county cricket, but I think he's retired now. Mujai Behardian, Carson Lately, Colin Shear's a producer now.
Kosher.
DJ Kosher.
I coached that kid table tennis back.
Yes, okay. Munir Alexander, who played Western Province. So there was guys that were coming through, but never really, kicked on in my time. I was captain of the first team in grade 11, and I did 2 years of captaincy under Peter Kirsten was the coach, and that was a real growth time for my career because obviously being a professional cricketer, Sax Old Boy too, he really helped me make that switch to be have a more of a pro mindset in how you face certain bowlers, how you bowl to certain batters, game plans and those type of things.
Those Saturday matches, your era of cricket, and Richard Levy's, that kind of year, like when you played against Wynberg, those must have been some seriously quality matches.
Unbelievable quality, the Richard Levy era, Don Tello era, Marcel Brach, he had a period where he was at Rondebosch and scored a triple. I think he scored 300s against the three big schools. There was Ryan Jafter from Bishops. Stuart Cummins, I think, opened the bowling. He played first team rugby too. I think he was a scrum off at Bishops. And that was me when I was grade 10, grade 9, grade 10.
Yeah.
So playing against those type of guys, and then, getting into my sort of year was Irsha Ayat and Jeff Dodds, James Cameron Dow. All of those guys playing was really competitive.
Yeah.
And, what's missed out now, we don't play enough declaration cricket. So you see the young players coming through, but they're not really equipped to understand the game. And that's the real test. So we played declaration cricket. We were really dominant at a period. I think my grade 11 year or 10 year, we played 15 days, won 14, lost to Weinberg, the biggest rival, unfortunately.
Was Lolly Saboto
He left, yeah. No, he was a couple of years ahead of me. He was with Richard and all of that. But also the growth for me came from, playing club cricket. At 15, I was in a dressing room at Police Cricket Club with Hassan Pangaka. And he was a sort of borderline of playing for Western Province in the 2000s. But sitting with a guy that's over 40 years old and I'm 15, him teaching the game to me.
Yeah.
Guys like Wesley Yuli played for Boland, left-handed batsman. Mark de Stadler played for Western Province, Boland. Miles Williamson. All of those guys, Kevin Yeovil, all of those guys played from a young age, but they men with kids and they have day jobs. And, those type of conversations at 15, 16 is really an eye-opener to help, And
Ash spoke about that kind of thing where he was sitting in the change room with Aldine Baptiste.
Yes.
No, you can't.
Yes.
I don't think that happens much longer.
No. And obviously, those are guys in the colored community that get spoken up big. Like Faith Davids, for example, is a big player within the colored community. So for me to rub shoulders with those guys, even Rushdie Hendricks that works at DP, he was a good first team club cricketer. These conversations and the growth that comes with it, you're forced to grow up and not be the small boy or this big dog in or a big fish in a small pond in schoolboy cricket. Because a lot of these players get put on a pedestal, but you're facing 105 kilometers an hour, you just whack them all over the ground. And these talented boys that are coming through, they're on a different level. But I'm talking about the guys that are, just there and thereabouts. And talent only takes you a certain way, but the schoolboy pumps these guys up so much that they don't need to play club cricket, because they're playing so much cricket at the moment. So they don't learn being around men and the game, the way the game gets played and the discussions that happen, and the stories you hear in the dressing room. You end up playing professionally at 20. When I made my professional debut, you're like, oh, this is what Hassi used to say, Pangaka now, or Mark Stadley used to say this, or when Mark bolted this one and that one, I fucking played against Graham Smith in a club game. I don't know. Played against Kempy in a club game, and you don't see that anymore. Guys, because apparently we play too much cricket, but it's only 21 matches in the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they'll be playing fun for exactly.
That's one thing I always admired about you when you were at the Cobras was when there was a 2-week break or when there was out of a competition, you get knocked out early or whatever. You would always make a plan. You go and play for Vicks, and you go and make sure that you just play it, like you get back to something, even if it means just going down to the game, watching and having a drink with the guys in the chain room after. Like that I think is. The youngsters coming through now don't have that kind of loyalty to them.
No, it's all, it's a social media era now. So it's all about, the guys post themselves in the gym doing fucking, dumbbell curls or fucking.
I don't think I've ever seen about something.
No, who cares if you're in the gym, It's all about what you do on the field. But it's trying to be accepted by the public and, how many followers you have and all of that stuff. So the social media, it's the social media era has kind of changed the way the cricketer is now. They look for that celebrity, they look for that big paycheck, they look for the quick fix instead of putting in the hard yards. Like I mentioned, I learned from those guys, the Mark de Stadlers and all of those, and Hassan Pangakas, where I actually had to go back and play the game.
Yeah,
because club cricket is a thing of that guys that I'm bowling against as a day job. He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I've got to try and get him out, and that's how you learn. Conditions are really, it's slow, there's a lot of spin, so that helped me with my bowling, but also facing it, and the abuse you get from the senior.
I can imagine there's nothing better for a club player to get out the professional player and then chirp him as he goes on. You know, because you go to Cobra's training on a Monday, but you've just been rolled for 5.
Exactly.
The weekend before that.
Exactly.
How did the professional contract come about? You got a contract pretty much straight out of school.
Yeah.
With the semi-pro was very strong back then.
Yeah. So I came out of school in 2008, matriculated, took a year off, and then went to study at UWC at the BSc Sports Science for the year. But in that period, I came back from the Coke Week. I was the only player selected from my team to a South African team. So I made the South African Colts team. Sachs unfortunately didn't allow me to go to these mid-year camps where Ray Jennings could have a look and all of that. So I missed out on SA under 19 selection because of that. So I had a very good Coke Week, and that's how I got in. I batted well, bowled well, got into the Colts team, and then I got a call where Eric Simons was still the coach of the Western Province amateur team, with Rashid Lewis being his assistant. I got a call that I needed to come down to their training. And for me, I never knew what the structures in cricket were. Honestly, I just played the game. I just wanted to be good at it. And I enjoyed it, you know. For me, the dressing room was the most important part, as you well know. Yeah. So, you know, making friendships along the way. And then I found it's a Western Province amateur team. It's called the B-side back then. Got there, and Ali Gray was the captain of the team. I think Martin Walters played. Tami Tsolokile was the wicket keeper. He actually got my first wicket in amateur cricket. He got the stumping. So I got a call, 18 years old, traveled with the team, and I played one game, a 50-over game that year. That was during my time off. And then the next year, Abdul Aziz Tamor was the spinner, so I didn't play much. And then eventually, like a quarter way into the season, he got injured, and then I got no opportunity. And at that time, Snakes was the coach of the B-side. Did really well. And then took 50-odd wickets in that 3-day competition, did well in the 1-days too, and then that's how I got my opportunity to play for the Cobras.
Was Shooks the coach of the Cobras?
No, Richard Pybus was.
Oh, Richard Pybus.
Yeah, Richard Pybus got selection, thankfully due to the color of my skin, because they were under the pump with players of color.
Really?
Yeah, Pybus even mocked us as the players of color. Asterisk is next to my name. It was my name, Justin Onto's name. And Langes.
They had to
4.
tick the box.
Yeah, and then he sort of he marked it. Langes obviously wasn't happy with it, but did it. And eventually I got my game to play. I took 7 wickets in the second innings. Mo Valley got 160. It was both of our first games. We beat the Titans and ended up winning the 4-day competition that year.
And I was really amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome. You know, my first experience of playing professional cricket. And to backtrack, actually my first game was against the Knights in Kimberley, and I got 3 for 20 in the MTN 40 at the time. Okay, that's where you could have the super sub player. Always Sharp came in over there. He was the guy that came in. So I got 3 for 20 and then 7 for 90 in the second innings. Bowled nicely. We won the game, and then that's when I got called into the office where Prof. Odendaal, I was writing that fucking that stats book. What's that?
The Blue in the
yeah. Was busy writing that book up. So he was off for 6 months, and then the late Mr. Mohammed, he called myself, Michael Rippen, and I think it was Pato at the time, into the room, the CEO's office, and he just gave us a blank piece of paper and he wanted us to sign it. And I was like, what? Like what? What the fuck? You can't get us to do this. It's either a contract. You can't get me to sign a blank piece of paper. You know?
That's about right.
Exactly. He just says no to commit yourself to Western Province because there's talks of amateur contracts coming into play.
Okay.
And I think it was fuck all. It was like 3,000 rand a month, I think it was at the time. But for me, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know? I didn't obviously sign it. I wasn't dumb. The Rippen too, I think Pato also didn't sign it. And Pato, I think, went to the Dolphins at that time. There's Rippen and I that sort of, he played the T20s, did well. I did the 1-day, and I didn't sign it. And then I went to National Academy that year. And then I got a call from Prof. He was back, obviously, off the sabbatical. Got a call from Prof. And they just bumped me up to a rookie contract. Okay. So that was my first year. And I think I was a millionaire. I made 6,500 rand a month.
Living at home, you were living.
Yeah, no. I mean, living at home. It was
Some of the guys around there, like we were the senior guys at the time in that team.
Oh, it was
everybody in there.
the great Andrew Patik, Stefan Seil was young-ish at the time. Rory was 28, 29. Vernon was around. Langes was around. I learned so much from Langes. Just his also mentality and just super skillful. Herschel was around. He had his stint of trying to come back and play four-deck and all of that. And, Mondi Zondeki, Justin Kemp,
Crazy.
Alistair Gray. This team was very, very good, Brookie.
Crazy side.
And I was blessed to play in a team like that because we scored 500, we bowled them out twice.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we were a massive fines meeting.
Yeah.
Heads are hurting the next day. We only travel back the Monday.
Yeah.
Train on the Tuesday, train on the Wednesday, play the Thursday. It's all about the discussion of how many days we're winning the game.
Yeah.
It was never about, come guys, we need to do this. We all knew what we needed to do. And I mean, for me, that was good. Justin Anton, he want to play for the Cobras. So yeah, that was the era of
That golden era of Cobras cricket
And Kotala cricket. I mean, you and we'll talk about it a bit more, but I mean, you played through the era where it wasn't so golden. And you were one of those legacy players that had that pressure of, we've been here, we've been successful, but we now haven't been successful for a few years. The Titans, the Lions, etc., have taken over. How did that feel, knowing how it felt, how good it felt to win all those trophies with such a strong team?
No, the trophies for me was unbelievable. It was never a discussion of the bonus. We tried to play for the money and all of that. The older guys always said, if you play well, the money will take care of itself. Dion Sanders says it really well. You look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they're gonna pay good. You know what I mean? So that's the sort of mentality that we had in the dressing room. So it was never like, oh, we're gonna do this, we do that. I mean, I was a national player. I was playing for South Africa after my test match against them, and I got offered 250,000 after 2 years. And that time it's not a lot of money. 24.
That was your domestic contract.
That was my domestic contract. But the players that were were stalwarts of the Cobras, so they deserved that.
Yeah.
They deserved the cash they were getting and that. But I was just there to win games with the team and hopefully get recognized. The season I broke out into the national team. That was a perfect example. Robbie P was available for 2 games. He played, but then I took my opportunity. Got 45 wickets in 8 matches. Got a call from Andrew Hudson to say, listen, you're touring with the South African team.
Against them.
Yeah.
And you got man of the match that game, right?
I did. I got a cash envelope for man of the match. That is the US dollar there out in Zip.
Nice.
But yeah, it was cool, It was 24 years old, 23, 24-year-old, and dominated. I wish I played another 2 years of first class cricket. Because for me, like I said, I never wanted to be a professional cricketer. I wanted to be a professional footballer.
Yeah.
And for me, it's still a hobby I'm doing. But fortunately, I can look after my family, and try to give them a decent life. But it was so cool to dominate and win games, and that's what I'm different. We don't do ordinary.
I'll always say, we'll get into that. But I like what you say about that, because are we like in this era now, right, where instant gratification, the guy scores, 100 in the SA20 game, all of a sudden he must get pushed into the South African team. Have we lost that era of like guys playing 2 years of first class cricket, learn your game? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's no fault to the player at all. I know what I said earlier about the social media era. It's no fault to the kids that come here at all. You need to make yourself a brand and protect the brand. That's the most important thing. But the system of cricket at the moment, in my opinion, is not in a good space. We can't be playing 7 matches a year in the 4-day format. We can't be playing 7 one-day matches. We can't be playing 1 round of T20 cricket. The opportunity is important to players. So now it's become with Division 1 and Division 2. Financially, it doesn't make any sense. From a cricket point of view, it doesn't make any sense. And that's where we find ourselves.
Yeah.
And having gone to America, coming back, it doesn't feel like the competitiveness is where it should be. Because everybody is looking for that gratification of quick fix. I need to score 200s because 3 years ago, that guy scored 200s and he got into the team. So I just need to do the same.
Yeah.
Where you don't understand your game enough. You don't fully understand what I need to do in certain situations, you know, and yet we are producing teams that are competing, you know, and that's the cool thing.
That's the unbelievable.
Yeah, this Pretoria's kid at the moment, he's going to be a great player. Dierwald, Quenamo Parker, all of these kids are still coming through the system, but in my opinion, the system is not in a good place. You know,
I was following one of the county games, Leicestershire, and Rayan Ahmed, the spinner. He's played 31 first-rate games already.
I know.
And it's unbelievable. I mean, the kid's, 22? So,
Younger than that, yeah.
24 years old, and he's played for England. That's a lot of cricket. I mean, you can say that kid's ready to play international cricket regularly.
Yes.
For our guys now, the 100 Proteas had 3 first-class games, and he scored 200s in these 3 first-class games. So, 3 first-class games doesn't make you, a fully rounded cricketer. Not.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. I mean, I've played, was 4 years break from first-class cricket.
Yeah.
I've played 127 something games, right?
120
something.
128
first-class games, right? So I've played that amount at the age of 35. There was a period where I was playing between 10 and 14, 15 first-class matches a year without playing it.
Without going to the UK, yeah.
Without playing UK, right? So you play in the system. Yes, selection is not guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
But we need to have a way of getting these players to play. If you play well, you're going to be selected.
Yeah.
You can't be strutting around with a batting average of 21 and you play a full season of cricket. You can't do that because you're keeping players out that's, regardless of the color of the skin.
Yeah.
But 21 is not good enough. Andrew Patik, Justin Ontong, Stian van Zyl were averaging 50, between 50 and 75, and they couldn't make the testy.
Unreal.
We're at the point where Stian broke into the team because people retired.
Yeah.
And he had to open.
But you had to open the bed, and
You know what I mean? So now the watered down system that we play in, 25 to 40 average, right, can get you a 800,000 rand contract.
Yeah.
Which is completely fucked up
Yeah.
because that's not a true reflection of quality. Quality is averaging 55, 60 for 3 seasons. And then you say, okay, I'm ready to play for South Africa. I'm ready to take that responsibility of earning that amount of money and producing for my team. Because at the end of the day, Shukri is only going to select match winners, right? Consistent match winners. He's not going to pick guys that just, meander along and happy with 35 average at domestic cricket because that you're going to take down 15, you're only going to average 20 at that international level, right? So there's a lot of things that are flawed, but we're going in the right direction.
Let's talk about your luck. What SA20's tried to do is bridge that gap between domestic cricket and international cricket. You got picked up this past before season 3. Robbie P is the coach of MI Cape Town, former colleague of yours. Firstly,
I took his job.
you didn't take his job.
It got dropped for beer.
Oh yes, yeah. So
Always tell you
it's not bitter, which is not a thing. So he picked you up in the auction, and I actually remember saying to Robbie at the end of that auction, I said, "Rob, other guys have signed overseas pros." I said, "But I think you made the signing of the season in signing Piedt." Because he understands it's not about just your value on the field; it's what you do behind the scenes, and only those that have played with you or worked with you know exactly what you contribute. And is that your secret sauce? Like you're obviously always committed on the field. You know your value on the field, but off the field is where you really shine.
Yeah, I think so, to be honest. The bonus is really nice with SA, I must say. But for me, it's always about making people feel comfortable. And that's always been me from a young boy.
Yeah.
I was pretty shy from, primary school days, going to high school. But because of that shyness, I think it's knowing someone walking into the room and not really being comfortable with Scholesy. I gave him his nickname Scholesy. He walks in, as Richard always used to say to you, your life's really tough already. Because he's a redhead, right? So come in, be yourself, and try to make yourself at home.
Yeah.
And for me, when a guy walks in, I will always try and make him feel comfortable by giving him a nickname, having a conversation. Come sit next to me.
Yeah.
I felt that I wasn't accepted as easily as that. I used to sit in the corner, and it's big men. So
Guys are a bit harder back.
exactly, a bit harder, a bit more, not welcoming and all of those. And I told myself, I'm never going to allow that to happen to the next guy. Yes, I do get chirpy. I abuse guys. I have fun with them. A lot of the guys will know that sometimes, Piedt, you can't say that. And I said, I'm not going to say sorry. I said it already. But just to make someone feel comfortable for me is the most important. I don't see race. I don't see cultures, because we can try and meet halfway.
Yeah.
The big thing is when we travel, you get to the airport, and it naturally happens this way. The white guys go into their bus, the colored guys go into their bus, and then off we go. It naturally happens like that.
Yeah. You're driving the one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The white guys will go to Nando's, the colored guys will go to KFC. It happens that way. It naturally happens that way.
Yeah.
So why try to force it and say, no, we need to drive with each other?
Yeah.
No, that's forcing a relationship. It's forcing a team culture. Let you do what you want to do. Listen to the music you want to listen to. But we can meet halfway. Because at the end of the day, if someone's listening to Titanium, a white guy's pumping it in the corner of the dressing room, we also going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Then you can listen to the youngster CPT where the colored guys are playing, That way you can meet halfway and do it. And I think for me, that's my secret sort of weapon, in the sense of, like you said, Robbie said that, and I chirped him. I still chirp him now. I saved your job because we won the SA20. But, just that coming together of, allowing people to be themselves.
Yeah.
I think that for me is really important.
Yeah.
Because once you're comfortable in the dressing room, when you walk out to the back, you're comfortable. You're not tensed up and saying, oh, I need to show this guy that I can actually play this game. And I think for me that's the most important. I was 25 years old and I was the captain of the Cobras.
Yeah.
Andrew Patik played. I had to tell Patik, you're not playing in the game. And he's played for 20 years at the franchise. Justin Ontong, the same thing. Stian, the same thing. The senior guys, Rory, captaining Rory, one of my good friends, Vernon, captaining Vernon, those, it forces you to grow up, but also the environment is important.
Yeah.
That's why the 1 year where we lost the 3 balls to go in the competition, the environment was, we didn't call Janas and Bedders and Kyle, he didn't call them the youngsters, he called them the young stars.
Yeah.
Because that's what they are. They are the future of the franchise. So make them feel comfortable, make them feel like, you can actually be a match winner for us. You're not just tagging along and, Claudio Bokako bowled seriously well that year, Pato, and the responsibility will always be on us.
Yeah.
But just to make it, comfortable with each other. Guys naturally sitting, having a couple of beers after the day's play. Yeah. Not forced. Yeah. Naturally not grabbing their phone straight away. And every fucking guy has a girlfriend in the modern day. So, yes, just tell your chick, listen, we're in the dressing room, there's nothing wrong with it. We're just having a couple of beers. We'll be home now.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything out of the ordinary. We're sitting in dirty clothing having a beer.
Yeah.
Simple.
I mean, back in the day, you landed up going over probably on a Sunday morning.
Yes. And my wife is still upset about myself.
The game was day 3, but you still on your wrapped up at the end of day.
Exactly. At the end of the day, we're still human,
Yeah.
We still have beer like the other person that's sitting on the keyboard saying Dane Piedt is a shit cricketer.
Yeah.
We're still as human as them. We still do a beer, So it's easy. It's easy to invite someone in. It's in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to kick someone out and see them sitting. This is just my personal. I see them sitting, not having something to say or do.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a beer, it's fine. Come sit here. You can have a Powerade. You can have a water. Yeah. But just, come together, because during a season, we're with each other all the time. Literally with each other all the time.
I think you maybe underestimate that kind of culture, what it's done for this generation of cricketers now. Your Bedders, your Tony DeZorzes, your Carl, that test team, what you're talking about now, about that change room and allowing them to be who they are, etc. It's no coincidence that those guys are now playing test match cricket in Stores, sitting in a championship final.
And you know what the cool thing is, that they are allowed to have a voice within the team.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool, because once you have a voice, you're not just going out there trying to, score runs and do well for the team. You actually have a voice to say, I don't agree with this shoot. Training, I don't agree that, these guys are hitting balls for long.
Yeah.
Or I need to do this first before that because I'm batting there or what. You're allowed to do that. In the past when I play, I just sat in the corner. Pity you in, okay, boom, try to do my things in the test team. There was the whole World Cup shit that happened. Came back to the test team, the environment wasn't the same. So you end up chilling with KG Temba. Temba's DJing for us in the room. We're talking shit, have a couple of beers in the room.
Yeah.
We don't want them to find that we're actually having a couple of beers, but we have, 3-4 days off.
Yeah.
That's the type of, but now it's no fear, Pat Cummins is running in. Oh, okay. It's these what it is, yeah. That's the environment. And a guy like Scholesy and Bedders, I'm pretty close with, because I was there from the start.
Yeah.
Where Bedders actually, in a net, hit the ball, and I turned around while I was bowling, and I looked, and I was like, that sounds different. So there's ability, and like Jason Smith, same thing. You hit the ball, you're like, this kid's seriously talented, but it's all natural, The same thing with Scholesy. Scholesy always has that mentality and that relationship that Scholesy and I have. Because he was a lighty when he walked in,
Yeah.
I can speak openly and honest to him.
Yeah.
He opens himself up to me as well with his personal life and, those type of things. So that's the environment and the culture I created with those youngins.
Is that, what's Shook's like as a coach to play with?
Shooks and I have a relationship like, he knows what he's going to get from me. He's pretty straightforward. I'm straightforward with him.
Yeah.
He's very, you got to do your business.
Yeah.
Don't ever calculate the situation. Back yourself 100% to do it. And that's why I felt comfortable going back to go play, and I did pretty well when I went back.
Yeah.
In New Zealand, then Bangladesh, I had a bad bowling performance, but in the West Indies, I bowled pretty well and batted well. So so those moments allowed me to, click with Shooks, because he saw me in 2008, the first time in a net bowling. So the relationship was always there, but he allows you to be yourself. And I think that for me is important, especially at this age where I can go out there and just bowl, be myself,
And that's why I suppose just take me through that. It was a crazy time. You're sitting in America.
Yeah.
You've given up on red ball cricket. You've made the move with your family to America. Firstly, I'd love to hear about, how did that happen in the first place? I know it happened during Corona and all of that. But
You're the only person that calls it Corona. It's so weird.
COVID, sorry, during COVID. But firstly, tell me about that. And secondly, I want to know, what goes through your mind? You've always been a red ball, you've loved your red ball cricket. And then you get the opportunity to play again, and you're going you weren't expecting that. Now, you take me through the move to America.
The move to America, I've always been, as you can see on my shirt, I've always been different. It's never forced. It's just the way who I am.
Yeah.
And there was a reality that kicked in. I had the toughest tour of my life against India. I was successful there.
You got me a half century there in that tour.
On that tour, yeah. I bowled well in 2016, but it was a tough tour, and I came to realize I was 29, still young.
Yeah.
And then Rusty sent me a text on
Rusty Turok.
what's it called, the DM, direct message on Instagram. Yeah. A long message saying he's been in the States for so and so. There's 2 investors, Samir and forgot the other guy's name, Vijay. They start in this big league. Eventually, it's going to be called the Major League Cricket. Are you keen on coming? I was like, okay, I'd like to speak to those guys and, see the level of it. And that's when Kolpak thing changed and all of that. But I came to the realization, Keshav's the number 1 spinner.
Yeah.
He has an opportunity to do something different, which I've always been open to. I needed something different. I've been playing at the Cobras for 10 years.
You love American sport, but not necessarily America. But
Yeah.
you were always involved in that. You loved the basketball too.
I have. I'm a big sports lover.
Yeah.
I got the offer from the Cobras was a 250,000 pay cut. Just got married.
Nothing like a pay cut to
Yes, just to start off.
Yeah.
They offered me that contract, but still told me I'm still a integral, obviously.
Yeah.
It was that compliment sandwich, right? They give you the pad, the kudan, and the puck duck at the end, right? So then I go, nah, I'm not taking the contract. Titans, Manla calls me from the Titans. I said, no chance. I said, impossible I'm going there. And then I spoke to Rusty and I said, okay, let's make it happen.
You did go on loan like a couple of games at the party.
Yes, I did.
Anyway, but
I did. Yeah, Bouch called me for that. Trying to get Aiden in with all the player color regulations. Tried to get Aiden to play in that. So I did go there for like 2 weeks, I think.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so got the America deal, had conversations for a couple of weeks with him. They offered the deal, decent cash, and an opportunity.
Yeah.
Had to go over there to coach and play, which was pretty cool. I was going to be based in Maryland, which is close. It's called the DMV, so Maryland, Virginia, Washington D.C. Nice part of the country, and yeah, that's what we did.
What is it like being
Travel during Corona as well.
Okay, yeah.
And the funny thing is, when I got to America, they never asked us for a COVID test.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They just asked us for our passports. And
Yeah.
We obviously had it, but and that's the capital of the country we landed in.
Yeah.
Walked in, and then
Yeah. How was that being like one of the pioneers? I mean, there was a few South Africans who went over at the time, guys that had, Shadley and those Andre Goos and those kind of guys that, played a lot of, domestic cricket here, but were looking for a movie. You were still kind of like in the peak of your career, So how was that being like a pioneer in that sense?
no, it's pretty cool. I was the head of, or the president of we started a players union.
Okay.
In the US, because there's absolutely nothing, so people can just do what they want to. Yeah. It was pretty cool, to be honest. Nice to get an opportunity and get there and see things develop. Because I just played white ball cricket, so the carom ball that I'm bowling now, through that system of trying to work that out, and also just interacting with different cricket cultures as a pool. The Caribbean guys, the Indian guys, the Bangladeshis, the Afghans. The way they play the game, the Pakistanis, the way they play the game is completely different. The way they think the game is completely different. So those things just fell into place, and it was cool. That's all I can say. And being able to travel the US, don't think what you see of the US is all on TV, because you see some dodgy parts of the US.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Talking about dodgy, I remember sending you a couple of texts while you were over there. I was watching a couple of your streams.
Yeah.
And you were playing on some pitches there that was carpets and glad is like you go for playing at Newlands and like how do you must be thinking, what am I doing here?
Yeah, at first you're like, oh, okay, but then it's all about like embracing it and enjoying it.
Yeah.
Because it's all part of your story at the end of the day. So not a lot of people can say, I was played there for 4 years, came back, carried on playing here, and just up and down, enjoying it.
And it was always part of the long-term strategy there, right? It was minor league cricket,
Yes.
with the view, not a promise, but a view that you would play major league cricket and you'd be picked up by one of the franchises.
Yeah, that was always the structure. Minor league still ongoing, but a lot of issues that you need to get in place, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But the best thing about it is growth.
Yeah.
There's definitely growth within the game. There's opportunity for players now. There's a guy like Kosi, for example.
Yeah.
He gets picked up now in leagues.
Unbelievable.
And that's the opportunity that has been provided. Harmeet Singh's a left-arm spinner there. Netra Valka, he to prominence now with those are the guys that's been churning away there for years, so pretty cool. My intention was never to play for the US. My intention was just to go there and experience something different. Because I've played, at the time, it was 10 test matches, I think, or 9 test matches for South Africa at the time, before I came back.
I mean, you would look at the future tour program and go, right, only time I'm going to get a gig here is if we play 3 spinners and, 2 or 3 spinners in the subcontinent.
Yeah.
And we don't often double that like that.
No.
So Kesh was always going to be there.
Spinner was sort of disrespected in the country,
Yeah.
From a growth point of view, and being picked in the domestic players.
Yeah.
So that's obviously struggles we have to fight as or spin bowlers.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. This is the type of things we have to fight with. But at the Cobras, we always try to fight. We asked someone at the time, bowling with myself, George at the time, Junaid Dawood at the time. So those are the sort of things that we always fight. But spin bowlers, I don't get the recognition they deserve.
And the one thing that, when you got that call from Shooks and stuff, I mean, the one thing I loved about that New Zealand tour was you got the respect and the closure.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you could have dropped the mic at the end of that tour and said,
Thank you.
thanks Shooks, thanks Test Cricket,
Yeah.
I'm done. Because that, I mean, just having Misha and Dax there,
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
for that, like, just describe that feeling, because you never thought that wasn't
No.
in your planning at all.
And Dax still speaks about it now, about like New Zealand. And Misha's brother lives out in Gauteng too. So that was where the first test match was played.
Yeah.
And we had a discussion. Shooks calls me into the room. I've been dropped so many times that I know when you get a WhatsApp, hi, are you free for a chat? So as he sent that, I was like, where are you? I'm like, he's like in the team room. As I walked into the team room, I opened the door. I said, so are you leaving me out because of the extra batter? We're going to play all seam attack. Do you feel? And he just starts laughing. And he's like, you know what, Piedt, I'm really sorry, but I promised you 2 test matches. But, cricket's fallen into place. And, this is the decision he's making. I said, it's fine about that. Like, I genuinely told him, like, Shooks, you gave me opportunity.
Yeah.
But don't make the same mistake in the second innings or second test match.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I've been dropped so many times. Like, there comes a time in my career, I'm just like, fuck it, guys. You don't have to, just tell me I'm not playing.
Yeah.
Don't come and say, but the next couple of games, be ready. Of course I'm going to be fucking ready. I'm not just going to sit up here. Like, I'm going to be ready to play. Like, I'm on a tour, I'm training, I'm doing this stuff. I'm just not going to, tap out. Unless there's one more test match to play and I'm not playing, then I'll definitely enjoy my time on the tour. And I like to enjoy myself.
That thing, you've never been one where you've dropped and you sulk and you...
There was a time that with Ashwell, he knows what happened. We had a bit of a altercation, but that was the time that happened. In Bangladesh too, there was a lot of stuff going on in the personal life with Bisha's dad and all of that, so it affected me a bit differently. And I didn't go to the optional training the next day. Shooks was disappointed, but I told him I was disappointed being left out, and a lot of other stuff was happening. But that's the relationship I could have with Shooks, But to be left out of a team, it's like people tend to go, I'm going to sulk, or no, fuck yeah, I should be playing. Of course you think you should be playing. It's like your parents have to love you. Your mom, they bunky. It's the same thing. Of course you want to be playing. It's like, it's a rhetorical question. Are you sad you're not playing? It's I call bullshit if you say, yeah, I call bullshit. No, fine. Like Dane Patterson's a perfect example. He will be the guy. No, I understand, I'm fine. Comes off a fifer, gets dropped at Newlands against Pakistan. Oh no, it's fine, I understand, But there's other guys that like, I'm a type of guy like, yes, I'll still be there, but I have that fuck you mentality of like, if I'm playing the next day, I'm going to try to put in a big performance. Because I know at the end of the day, I'm a filler. If there's a hole in the wall, they call polyfiller. Just fill that gap there. On a tour, fill this gap on a tour, bowl a couple of overs in a second test match in the subcontinent spinning. I'm not going to be the number one guy, But what I can contribute is when I leave that environment and they're going to on a test tour where there's no other, they're like, shit, we actually must be here. And I got a message from Lungi the other day. Oh, would it be cool to see you in the test champ or whatever they're going to play now? But it's like, it's not my time. But as long as there's a void being left off the field in the dressing room, it's fine, because that's what people are going to remember.
Some of the content that you do behind the scenes is brilliant. You have that ability, and I think that's, for me, that's your next phase in your career, right? I mean, thank you. The ability to just have fun, be serious when you need to be serious, but you know how to have fun. You know how to get a smile out of Lungi and be able to chirp Lungi or KG or Temba, but respectfully.
Yeah.
I think that's always...
Behind closed doors, not respectfully. I'm joking. But you know what, Bookie? I always put it into context, right? Imagine, I tell the guys, imagine we were working at a call center now, and we were all friends. We work from 8 till 5, calling someone for insurance, or buy insurance, whatever the insurance company is called, Hippo and all of these guys, right? So now you call, hi, are you interested? That person in the line is like, who the fuck's, that's what I do. Stop fucking phoning me, Like, imagine that was our job. No disrespect to those people, right? But we are blessed with an opportunity to play sport, travel the world, get meal allowance, finish a thing, go to a pub, speak about the game, have a couple of beers, make friends, memories that will last forever, So that's why if someone will tweet me or Instagram me, you fucking shit, you did it, I say, cool, boss. I don't stand over your job as working in a call center and say, why didn't you offer them R5 less on the deal? You shit at your job. I don't do that. So if you want to tell me, that's all good. That's your opinion. You're allowed to have an opinion. So I've never had the multitude of, oh, Dane, yes. In New Zealand, yes, people were all over Dane again and saying Dane did this, Dane did that. But, people are allowed to have this opinion. So I always tell the guys, boys, imagine working 9 to 5. Just imagine that. From the age of 20, my job has been to try and get people out and try to keep the ball up. That's the perspective I have of cricket, And I've learned a lot more than any 12 years I was at school. And that's the honest truth. Being, living, traveling the world, going to India at 2 a.m., leave the hotel to go look for the chai tea on the street for 10 rupees compared to 150 rupees in the hotel for a cup. You know, those are the memories that were lost. Myself and Copper going to the JP, going to watch a movie in India in the bicycle, like that's cool, you know. So bicycle people out there, movie theater. Sorry, going to the movie theater, watching this movie, like seeing the Indian people stand, singing the anthem before the movie starts.
Yeah.
You know, or like that's what happens in India. Like those are the memories. I don't. Nagpur getting pulled out for 70. That sort of memories is like you're not in control of that.
Yeah.
But like going to the movies, having those time and going for chai tea, you know, walking the streets with going to the mall as a team in Chandigarh in India to Nando's.
Yeah.
AB walking with a hoodie down, he can't even see it.
Only the White Oaks got in Nando's now.
Yeah, but you know,
You see it on Embalga, mate.
yes, exactly. Carl Nando's is pretty good though. But like in India, like AB's hoodie pulled over his eyes are open like this. Like he takes it off.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, the whole of Mohali is in the hotel, in the mall. I had to close the door, staring at AB eating a chicken leg. Like it's weird, but those are the memories, you know. Those are the memories. Like you have that will never leave me.
Yeah.
You know.
That's the stuff you talk about in 20 years' time.
100%. 3 days out in Goa before the Test match series. Like Goa is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Right. It's in India, but we had a 3-day break before the Test series in 2016. And you know, you chill, you have a couple of drinks with the best fast bowler in the history of the game, Dale Steyn.
Yeah.
Morne Morkel, the funniest person that you'll ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
People don't know that. But it's quick to abuse them online because they did so-and-so.
Yeah.
A young KG Rabada, 20 years old, makes his debut there. Dave Villas, brilliant teammate.
Yeah.
You know, AB, obviously, AB speaks for himself.
Yeah.
All of those guys, it's just like Hashim, you know, having tea in Hashim's room.
Yeah.
His mom packs biscuits for the tour. You go there and you feel like cleansed when you leave the room with Hashim. You know, just the conversation. Exactly, but those are the memories. I won't speak about Dale Steyn's 9 for 99 at ball on my first Test tour of watching him in action.
Yeah.
You know, that, yes, it's a memory.
Yeah.
But it's not memories where people will be like, shit, you know, Dale's actually, after the Test match, goes for the surf.
Yeah.
You know, those are the things like, oh, okay. And he's at the beach, like, that's Dale.
Yeah.
Part of his life is bowling fast.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the general fan will only see what's on the field, you know, but they don't necessarily see the real person. And that's often some of the greatest characters of the game, is that you don't see the real character that's off the game. And that's the privileged position you as a professional cricketer is in that environment, which I think is, and it's something that I feel that you will never take for granted.
No, not at all. I'm enjoying the last bit of my career. Like I always told the young guys, I'm not going to get better than I am now. I'm 35 years old. I can't get better than I am.
Yeah.
Like, this is me.
Yeah.
It's like playing NBA 2K, right?
Yeah.
You maxed out with your guy.
Yeah.
Because you can't get any more credits to get the guy better from 3-point range or something.
Yeah.
Right? So now you go like, okay, he's maxed out. I'm maxed out.
Yeah.
I can't gain any other points to add onto my skill set.
Yeah.
So why don't you just work hard?
Yeah.
Just work hard. You're young. Get better. Get yourself better. Create opportunities for yourself to get better. Go to England. Become a pro of a club at a young age.
Yeah.
Realize the responsibility of scoring runs or taking wickets.
Yeah.
You know, those are the things that you need to do in order to upskill yourself. You know, don't be afraid of taking that risk. You know, there's not enough risk takers in our game. It's like, it's okay. I'll rather take 500,000 for 2 years than I want to take 350 for 1 year and prove my worth so I can get 800,000. You know?
I looked at the amount of transfers that happen in domestic cricket, and it's not 3/4 of the players are moving every single.
That's what they do.
So like,
That's what they do.
Yeah.
They're chasing the next sort of, and you know, the sad reality is the young player, yes, Division 2 is Division 2. But imagine having a season, one season you can tell yourself, okay, I'm going to give myself Division 2. You say you're not chasing the money. You want to get better. But now you're only going to play 5 games out of 21 because so-and-so is playing there.
Yeah.
So now, in Division 2, you're going to play every game. You're going to upskill yourself. You're going to play not at test venues. You're going to Mpumalanga and Limpopo. You're going to Northern, you're going to Oudtshoorn. You're going to Buffalo Park. You're going to all of these places that's, tough to go to, but you need to upskill yourself. So take that opportunity and score 300s out of 14 innings. Try to do that. And I think that is not discussed more. Because these agents, Rookie, as well. These agents are as dreadful just to see them, yes, do that. But when they're in the position, they don't even play. The kids are not playing. They play 3 calls game a year. And then they lose out instead of investing in the player and saying, play Division 2. Stop chasing the cash. I'm staying Division 2. I'm not running anywhere. I was part of the team that got relegated. We play good cricket. We follow the rules, Warriors. But the thing is that at the end of the day, you can't run. If you were part of something, try and, leave a legacy at the place. Don't, like, they always speak about legacies in the NBA, right? Kobe Bryant, for example, he plays for one team. Kevin Durant is exactly the same as Kobe from the sense of, free scoring players. But Kevin Durant's legacy is spoken about. He went to Brooklyn, then he played at the Thunder, he went to Brooklyn, then he went this team, he chased the ring at Golden State, he did this. So the narrative changes. So try to create a legacy for yourself, invest in your game and try to get better, regardless of the division you're playing in. Dominate where you're at.
I love that. I think that mentality is unbelievable. And you've obviously had the chance to see some of these youngsters, like it's to me like you've obviously played with the likes of the youngsters coming through, like Dion Forrester, quite excited about. If you're the kind of youngsters that you've seen now coming back to South Africa, that's going, okay, they look the real deal.
This Dion van Vieren kid at the Knights, we held on to him, serious player, left arm over, waxed the ball. The nicest guy you'll ever meet in your life. You will not even know he's in the room and he's your roommate. Great kid. Comes from a good family. Like, he's got a lot of potential. Obviously, Folly, you spoke about now. Loads of potential. Yes, I had open and honest conversations of where he needs to get better. And just being, more inclusive of, if there's people, you need other people within your team to do well. Then there's this lefty. I mean, everyone speaks about Proteas. Like, serious. And I love the ability, the tap down, the pat balls, the technique. Like, it's a bit of like, that's me. That's Cape Town. Like, you can see that. That's flair. And that's what we like. Bravery. Like, seriously talented. Like, also listens to what I have to say to him. We had good conversations. Travels to the game and doesn't have a phone on him. Sits there, focuses on the game, right? Comes back after the game, after we won or whatever, lost even, and he sits right next to me, and we discuss the game during the essay, what could have done better, And always told me he's chasing that 10 grand to catch, for the super catch. That's why he makes the catch to go harder. But anyway, like, those are the type of things we speak about at the back of the bus. So, like a Previs, for example, this Tristan Lees, with loads of potential, courier speed. Like, those are the kids that I seen come up where I was young, and then, it's that exuberance of youth. Like, they don't care. Not that they don't care in a negative way, but they're just there. They just want to produce. And those are the cool things. Connor Esther is another one that I like. He can really bat. There's a lot of talent within the country. Semelani too, I like. Jay de Klerk's a left arm spinner. Northwest is just signed, very underrated. Loads of potential. Dominated in Division 2, which gets you a good gig in Division 1. Potentially to start for Northwest. Just learning the bowl teams out, what he did. And those are the type of kids you see. I'm a cricket badger. I've always on my phone, checking scores, checking averages, because you're going up against these guys. So if they average 25, they don't have the willpower to get to 50.
Exactly.
Because they're averaging 25. That's what the stats tell you.
Some of these youngsters coming through, they're a bit more chirpy these days, right? We're sitting here in our friends Bootlegger who host us here for the podcast. Like, we can always go back and look, we spoke to Ash about his best kind of chirp or roast that he heard in his career, but is there like a youngster that's in your since coming back to South Africa that's chirped you and you're going like, 10 years ago, if I chirped a Rory Kleinfelber or an Ashwell Prince, you would have got me in the back there and...
Nah, they don't touch me. They don't say anything. I think they know the personality. I'm going to give it back to them straight away. But I would appreciate the sort of, guys come out there, they want to fight. Certain players, they want to fight, they will look for it, they scrap. I'm not that type of guy. If you tell me something, I'll never respond back. In a way. Like, if you become personal, I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do to you. Done. I don't have to, And I think also, what I've achieved in my career, guys don't tend to come out and abuse the young guys as well. But I think a lot of the senior guys would tell him, nah, leave it, he's fine. I mean, I'll never forget Artis was chirping me. We were in National Academy together afterwards. I said, I know you, boss. Yes, not intimidate. Just go pack. Just go. Just try to get me out. I'll try to keep the ball out there. You know, that's just the honesty where I am or I have. So yeah, no one's really chirped me. No, there's some stuff I can't say, honestly.
Such a safe space.
No. You will know exactly what I'm speaking about if I bring the score down. So go.
I'll never get them on the show.
Yeah.
Right, so Fitty, we have a final kind of, we have a final segment called the declaration here, right? So I know you used to being captain, but I'm the biggest man in cricket, so today I'm the captain.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you 6 questions. Don't want yes or no answers. I want you just a little bit, not too long, not too short, okay? Right, first question. The most underrated cricketer you've ever played with?
Played with, underrated.
He maybe didn't get the international record.
Andrew Piedt, easily.
Andrew Piedt, what a legend.
Wow, listen, Piedt is one of the greatest human beings. He used to box, bat in his boxes, the cotton boxer, jock strap on, walks out, just, unassuming, and then...
No pants over the boxes, just the...
No, his white pants on.
Okay.
Hey, come on. So then, it's one cut, flick of the legs, 8 runs, 2 4s, Stian goes, cover drive, bang, and then Ronnie used to say, okay, boys, I'll see you in 3 hours. So it's the first year when they sleep, because Piedt is there, okay, now we set, right? Like, never wasted his words. When Piedt spoke, everyone would just turn. If you go into Newlands, right, and you walk into the home dressing room, walk to the left, I sat here, Rory sat here, I sat here, Piedt used to sit over there, right? And whenever he speaks, he says, okay, boys, and everyone will just turn to him, because he's not wasting his word there, and he's going to speak about experiences and what we need to do as a team, to average 14 first-class cricket for almost 200 first-class games is next level.
One club man.
He just his value, and, I saw him during the SA20 with Jack. I met Jack when Jack was a baby, and now he's, unfortunately, the Underwash boys. But the coolest guy that I ever came across, played in his last first-class game. Feed the Piedt he will score is the most famous fines meeting song in the history of fines meeting. Don't tell me anything. But yeah, he's really a special player for me. And I think Western Province should retire the number 4 jersey for Andrew Piedt, honestly. That's what he's contributed.
Love that.
Man's played in 1998, boss.
Yeah.
He batted with a thin, like this size, batted. I watched him play cricket at Newlands, and eventually I ended up playing many years with it.
Yeah.
But what
a human being, unbelievable. Most memorable moment off the field of play in your career?
Off the field is probably Bloemfontein Fines meeting. We won the trophy yet again in Bloemfontein, and I'll remember
For the Cobras.
of course, for the Cobras, yeah. The big burly figure, our big all-rounder, Kempy, walked home with his cricket bag on his shoulder, bottle of champagne in his hand. We were just down the road.
Yeah.
But that Fines meeting was an epic one. Then there was one we played the Titans at Newlands in the one-day competition. Rained out. We played the first couple of overs. The rain day came in the next day. Rained again. Couldn't play. We shared the trophy. Fines meeting started at, I think, 11 o'clock in the morning, and it ended up going to about 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. We were absolutely battered, but that was the fun part. Ended up getting Clifford Dodgen 6 chickens from Nando's in the dressing room at about 5 o'clock because we needed the top up. There was just so much fun, and that's the memories that that will last forever. But yeah, just characters like Rory, Vernon, Kempy, like Langes, Ontes, like everyone that Fines meeting, and there was a club called Hemisphere on the absolute very first floor of it. Yeah, I think the name's changed. I don't know what it is, but after that we went there, we celebrated, because of the senior guys were like, we don't know when we're gonna win again.
Yeah.
So you gotta embrace it. Now it's like finish. Boys don't even shower after the game. Yeah. They just go straight back to their room, then they shower in their room, and then they chill, play PlayStation, drink Powerade. Pretty boring.
Okay, this is you got to think about this one, right? I know that you're a fitness fanatic and you
No.
always loved your running, right?
Rubbish.
A 10-kilometer run around Rondebosch Common, or a full day out in the field in Mumbai against India, and Rohit Sharma is on 212, and Kohli is scheduled to come in next. Which one's your?
I went through that one with Rohit, so I'll do it again. I'm not running far. No, I'm not running around home. That's so boring. I don't know how people do it. Like my wife runs a lot now, right? But I don't know how people run. Then they say, oh no, I listen to music. Okay. Just sit and listen to music, bro. Like cycle, something, like running, boss. And you know the worst thing for me is with running?
Yeah.
Like hearing your footsteps when you run.
Or your heartbeat?
No, the footsteps is the worst.
Yeah.
Because you can just yell and labor this kid. This game, go. And then people spend 5,000 on running shoes too.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, no, I'm joining a running club. And this was a big thing about it now. It's in the new dating site.
Yeah.
Running club.
Yeah.
You know, so now people are doing that. Like I don't like running.
Okay, something a coach has said to you in your career, whether you were younger or not, you wish you didn't listen to.
Take the softer option when bowling. Try to bowl more maidens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, interesting. Try to bowl more maidens. And I think that didn't sit well because I've always been an attacking guy. I've always been trying to get someone out.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was a period of my career. And that's when I played South Africa. I wish I didn't listen to at the time because that makes you, your mind up is, and scramble because you're not bowling at 100% there.
Yeah.
Because, spin ball is all about being clear up here and then the execution is the important part. So I think I wish I never listened to that, but that's why I said I wish I played another 2 years of domestic cricket and not having touched that. Yes, I've been successful at international cricket from time to time, but I wish I never listened to that.
Love it. Okay, this is a good one.
Okay.
If I say so myself.
Yeah.
Worst roommate of all time.
Oh, guys will say me because I snore, right?
Okay.
But worst roommate of all time.
And why? Let me throw in and why.
Yes, there's a story I could tell you, but I can't.
We'll do it offline.
Yeah, Stian, you know the story I'm about to tell.
But Stian the worst.
No, he was gone.
Somebody messy was like, you get your room, obviously as a captain, you get your own room most of that time.
That's the thing, yeah. Internationally, you get your own room.
Yeah.
Probably GL Kluter from the Knights now.
Yeah.
Like he's a bit, talks a lot.
Yeah.
But what is the killer for me is he falls asleep with the TV on.
Okay.
So I would fall asleep first, right? And then you'll just wake up and the flashes are the worst because the room's dark. Right?
Yeah.
So the flash come, and like, you're like, no, man. Like, surely not.
Yeah.
And then you would wake up at 1 a.m. while he's been asleep for 3 hours, switch the TV off, and then go back in.
Yeah.
But I must say, we like the aircon the same way.
Okay.
So needs to be right low, blanket up till here, But yeah, I think he's probably up there. Because hotel life is tough, man. People think it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine being on tour and eat the same breakfast for a month.
Yeah.
That's the worst. But like with MI, it was cool. Like the Taj, they were really nice.
Yeah.
So they made things easier. But like hotel life is tough. Living out of a bag, traveling. People think it's cool. I mean, I'm not trying to sound ungrateful.
No, again.
I mean, but I'll rather stay like an apartment, solitary apartment, like the Capital they have nice apartments. But also, hotel life is tough. So you try to make it work, even though if your room is cuck.
Okay, final question. Where's Dane Piedt in 5 years' time?
I think what you alluded to earlier was the media space. I think if I must say so myself, I think I have a bright future in that. I think the honesty and the honesty and those type of things that I sort of speak about, and I'm not really bothered what people think about me, and I think that would help. I want to complete my level 3 this year because I think that the game has given me so much from a financial benefit that I need to give back to the game. It's allowed me to build a life for myself. So I want to give back to the game, and I think that's going to be an important step. Surely for me, in order to take that next step in the next 5 years. Next 5 years, I'll be 40 years old. Just a bit more wiser to what's out there. Trying to be an inspiration to the next generation. I've always also been a guy not to keep the stuff I've learned to myself, because it's pointless doing it, and that's pretty selfish, you know. So if I get to the point of being given the privilege of helping the next, you know, sort of generation to do this and speak about my experiences, then things will be a lot easier for that person. So it's pointless me keeping it. So from a media space, I think that's the biggest thing that I wanna you know sort of conquer or be involved in, because I think I have pretty much to offer, pretty decent amount to offer for that.
I think that
but I will definitely be retired in 5 years.
it's on record that Piedt will be
100%. I won't be playing to 40.
Listen, I think that the one thing about you that I will say is that you don't just talk. You don't just talk a game and moan or whatever. You actually get involved in finding solutions, which I have no doubt in 5 years' time, South African cricket should embrace you. You know, from that knowledge point of view, from that skill set point of view, and just that ability to inspire. So, Piedt, thank you very much for being here today, telling us your story. I mean, you are one of the unique individuals that I love in this game, one of the greatest human beings on and off the field that I've had the pleasure of working with in the past. Just a little gift from...
Sometimes things that come out of my mouth is pretty...
That's why this is a safe space.
It is what it is. I created it today.
But it's always with love, which I really love and appreciate about you. Our mates at Bootlegger, just there's a single origin, which I hope you like your coffee. So
yes, I do.
Please accept that as a gift.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gents, I'm the biggest man in cricket, and that was Dane Piedt.